Hi everyone, Jared here. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I know that I did, and it of course, as always, goes just a little bit too quickly, but always good to be back to the markets. Let's have a little bit of a look. As promised on Friday, I said I would make the video before the market opened today so that we would have plenty of time to kind of review and be ready for some of those movements. Last Sunday was a huge moving day. Most people banked about 100 pips on Sunday afternoon, not even Sunday night, Sunday afternoon. So I want to make sure that we don't miss any of the action and that we're ready for anything that may come. Quick little look at things. We're seeing that gold is holding quite strong in those upward levels. It's been recovering little by little over the weekend and so on in after hours trading. And oil has kind of stayed down there. We'll see how these look come Monday morning. But Dow ended up finishing positive. Pretty good day overall for most of the equities markets in the U.S. We see that we have a bank holiday today in Japan, so the afternoon session could be a little tiny bit slow, but never discount that because we've always got Australia and some of the other countries there that can really make things move. So keep that in mind. Coming up on Monday, we don't have a lot of news on Monday, but we do have an Australian report. We don't trade Monday morning anyway, so we're not going to be missing out on too terribly much. Tuesday, we've got a couple of big ones. Wednesday is going to be the big day. This is the FOMC statement, and let's hope the markets aren't too slow waiting till Wednesday, and they could very likely be, but I think we'll have some good setups regardless. But Wednesday is when we're going to hear a lot about possible QE3, quantitative easing round 3, that could be hitting, and it's been talked about quite a bit. So Wednesday is going to be a big day. Thursday, we've got some pretty decent reports, and then Friday, not much. So a couple of things to look at. Again, the market is not open yet, and this is the level, this is the whole setup right here that I talked about on the website, allaboutpips.net, and this is what I talked about quite a bit on Thursday and Friday, and this is what we're waiting for. This right here is just a perfect setup really for either direction. Now, we know that with this gap right here, this is typically a pretty nice little indicator for the market to bounce off of and then kind of continue down. So we've got a pretty nice little retracement. The Euro's been coming down pretty strong, hit that 5th daily fib, made a nice little run up, everything nice and good and great. And it's just kind of been in retracement mode. It ran up and just couldn't really get above that 38% retracement and has kind of just started to consolidate and head down. So what I'm looking for ultimately is the break of this trend line, and I think our big level is going to be about 137.50. If the market breaks this 137.50, which is also, can't really see it too well, but that's the weekly pivot for last week. But 137.50 should be a pretty decent area to look for that break, and that also puts us into the Friday low. So that's the level I'm looking for on the downside. 137.50, a break of this, and we should have lots and lots of pips to head on down. However, if it does not break that level, which is definitely a possibility, we've got a nice descending trend line here as well. It's already given us a 1-hour crossover. We're kind of in mixed reviews here. 1-hour crossover down, 4-hour crossover up. So it's really kind of a tug of war which way the markets are going to go here. But I'm definitely looking for the downside as kind of the preferred, most likely movement. But I think this upside movement is definitely a potential. So look for this trend line right here, and we could see a break and an entry. Both of these need to move just a little bit, and we have our Friday high, which is all the way up here about 38.80. I don't know if we need to wait quite for that. I'm going to look for this trend line break right around probably around 38.20, and you can see that it's almost at 13800 is the market close. This could gap either direction when it opens in the next couple of hours, so just keep an eye on that. But nice little area, good breakout up or down in the works here. Again, about 138.20 for the upside and about 137.50 for the downside. Pound dollar got a little bit choppy here as well. Now, one thing before I move on to just note about the euro and the eurozone and so on. Currently, there's been kind of some surprise debt talks that have been emergency, I guess, debt talks that have gone into play over the last several hours for Greece, and so that is currently going on right now. So there's going to be some big shocks to the euro. Look for a big spike one way or another, possible big gap as the markets open. As far as the UK, no really major news coming out of the UK. Just kind of, a struggling economy like so many of them right now, but it's been holding pretty decently. But it still is working on that downtrend. Very nice little downtrend here on this pound dollar. Made a nice little run down, a little bit of retracement, and it's just kind of consolidating at these lows and slightly below the lows. So I think we're not going to have too terribly much trouble continuing on taking this down. So what I'm looking for is we do see our Friday low here, which is all the way down here about 157.43. And for any of those that may not be familiar with the Friday low, that's typically kind of the breakout level that we look for. Now, coming into the UK session, we're going to have our entry most likely just below this level, but coming into the Asian session this afternoon, watch this little consolidation here. You can see about 157.80, 75.80, even 70, where the market's just been consolidating. So look for a break of this ascending trend line, which let's say about 157.75 should break and head on down here. So that's what I'm looking for. If it does break and head up, there's a lot of mess in this upside, so I'm probably not going to take a buy on this one, at least today. But I definitely could tonight and tomorrow. But today and this afternoon, I'm just going to be looking more for sell opportunities because that's the most ideal likely setup right now. The Australian dollar too, I kind of left this trend line here. This is what I've been looking at since the weekend started. And the Australian dollar has kind of made this big run down and kind of double bottomed and headed back up. A nice 4-hour crossover and everything's looking pretty good there. And so this one's a little bit trickier. Probably going to look for a 1-hour crossover on this one right here to head down. And that's going to put it into kind of that 103.30, possibly 20 area, and you can see that it's about 103.60 right now. Or we're going to look for this little guy to break right here, because remember, we still have a good crossover in the works here. So we're going to look for the break of about this 103.75.80. I think this is going to be a really nice little area to look at right there. Well, let's say about 85. That's kind of where those candles are right there. We did have that little candlestick peak up above there, but about that 85 is what we're peaking at here. So not my favorite setup either way just yet, but I think that there is good possibility for this 103.85 to break. Otherwise, 1-hour crossover down. Euro yen has a very similar type setup here, so I'm going to look for a break of that Friday low. You can see that that's right about just right about there, which is about 105.50. So if this breaks, that's going to also constitute a pretty nice trend line breakout and should be able to give us a nice rundown tonight. Now, as far as today goes, I think there's good chance for a little bit of break of this consolidation right here. You can see this level right here, which is about 105.85.90. If it breaks that, we'll probably get a little bit of movement to the downside, but really the big one I'm looking for is about 105.50, trend line break. Nice run down into the 10400 area, which is a nice 150 pip run. The pound yen's been pretty choppy, so I'm probably not going to do anything with that one. And the rest of these pairs are kind of choppy as well. But one I did want to kind of bring to everyone's attention is the the euro pound. I think that the euro definitely has a chance of making a big spike down, and if that's the case, the pound may not follow it quite as strongly, and this could lead to a very nice sell opportunity on the euro pound. Very nice sell opportunity on the euro pound. So keep an eye on this one. This one's still pretty choppy, but if you can see about this 87.15 level right here, which is our Friday low, if the market breaks that, look for 20 to 40 pips on the downside run. I think that one could be very, very nice. But those are kind of the basics I'm looking for: euro dollar, pound dollar, Aussie dollar, euro yen, and the euro pound. Plenty of pairs to look at, plenty of things to keep your eye on. And remember, we could see a very active afternoon, and I am expecting a semi-active evening. We'll have our UK levels posted tonight as always. But lots of good setups. So keep an eye on these. Make sure they're marked on your charts and you're ready for the action. And have a great rest of the weekend. We'll see you guys in the chat this afternoon and tonight for the UK levels. Thanks so much, everyone.